going to play golf with Aaron Rodgers, and we laugh and say chuckle, ha ha. I'd like to see how he looks on the golf course.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, this is going to tell me a lot.
You can tell something about a guy's upper body on the way he swings.
He's been Instagramming a lot. His golf swing, his tee shots, I mean, looks good.
Yeah.
And I think the number 10 ranking, as silly as it might feel at home to think that that stuff matters, who cares it? I'm the 4th best running quarterback in the entire NFL. Do you not remember what I did in the playoffs 2 years ago? Do you not remember what I did last year against the Cowboys on this pass to Devontae Adams? Are they the team to beat? I don't think they're the team to beat in their own division. I think Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings are coming in fresh off a division championship, and then they beat the Saints.
Yeah.
I think the Vikings are the favorite, and I think the Vikings are a favorite by a larger margin based on what they bring back.
So, Reggie, they missed the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Pick a team that missed the playoffs last year that you think is now the team to beat this season. You can't go with the Packers.
I think I'm going to go with the Houston Texans in that division.
Sure, man.
I think with the healthy Deshaun Kaiser, DeAndre Hopkins, who led the NFL at the receiver position with touchdowns. 13 touchdowns. He's probably feeling some type of way about that ranking, too. But then I'll also say with the healthy J.J. Watt, you got Lamar Miller, all those other pieces that they've added on that defense, Honey Badger, I think they could be the team to beat in that division. If they're all healthy, because health has always been one of the issues for Houston, but I think they can be the team to beat in this division. I mean, they put up big numbers last year. When Deshaun Kaiser only played, what, 10 games?
Deshaun
Watson.
Kaiser played a lot, lost a lot.
He did play a lot.
No, we can't wait to see.
If Andrew Luck's out there and he's at 100%, and he's from week 1, and you know that, does that change your opinion at all?
I still got to go with Houston Texans because they just have so many weapons, and they only seem like they're getting stronger. So.
All right, if I'm going to take a shot, a team didn't make the playoffs, that can win the whole dang thing. I'm not talking about the division, I'm talking about the Super Bowl. I don't know if you guys have felt this. I come into work somewhere, I felt this wind, and I know it's summer, but it felt kind of like an autumn wind. And if I'm going to pick a team that's going to go all the way, I'm going to first look at a new head coach, and I'll look especially at a new head coach that has gone all the way before. I'm going to say the Raiders. Stuart, I'm going to go with the Oakland Raiders. With John Gruden, you know what, people immediately say, well, the defense. Let's get up to speed a little bit on the Oakland Raiders defense. Let's just do like a quick catch-up. So last year, 2 guys, Garyon Conley and Obi Melifonwu, both drafted, both injured for pretty much the entire season. So they're getting them back this year. This year, in addition to the 2 guys at the top, you got a guy named Arden Key in the 3rd round who fell first-round grade because of off-the-field concerns. They got another guy named Maurice Hurst in the 5th round, fell because of a heart condition. So what I'm saying is there's going to be a huge new influx of talent onto defense for Oakland, and that's great. But what this is going to come down to is Derek Carr, the guy we were all shocked yesterday when we said 2 years ago on the NFL Top 100, Derek Carr was number 9. Number freaking 9, Derek Carr, top 10, voted by his peers. If the Carr-Gruden relationship looks anything like maybe the Goff-McVay relationship or the Gruden-Gannon relationship, guys, 2016, we all thought they were going to the AFC title game. We were ready for Patriots-Raiders. He breaks his ankle, it's over. Don't think about this last year as much. Think about a new head coach with 2016 Derek Carr. They could be the guys.
I like that you bring up defense because I'm going to stay here in New York City and say it's the Giants, Drake. Because you look at what they can do on offense, and when you have a great quarterback, a great wide receiver, and a great running back, which they now have, you will have success this league. Look at Pittsburgh with the defense that they've been to the playoffs 4 straight years, and their defense is only in the top 12 in the league 1 time. You look at other teams like the Cowboys, when they had Dez and Zeke and Dak, their defense wasn't a top-notch defense either. I think they have what it takes. I believe Landon Collins when he sits here and says that they're all on the same page. They're going to gel. They're the team for me to beat this year.
I love that. And you know, it's funny. We talk about all the teams in the league. One team that we don't talk a lot about is the team that I'm going to go with here that did not make the playoffs last year, but was so close. It's a team that we said had the least sex appeal going into the draft, and now after the draft might be my most fascinating team.
Who you got?
The Baltimore Ravens. I think the Ravens, a team that kind of plodded along last year, were in the playoff hunt, lost that heartbreaking game to Cincinnati, that sent the Bills to the playoffs. Kind of like, meh.
They put people to sleep last year.
They really did.
The Irish jig was the coolest thing about them.
Alex Collins had a cool. Now though, like they bring everyone back on what will be one of the best defenses in the league. Marlon Humphrey is clearly going to be a #1 corner in this league. They have Terrell Suggs back, and they add this new element on offense in Lamar Jackson. And at least at the very least, I'm tuning into Ravens games at the preseason level for sure. I'm watching.
100%.
I want to see.
Yeah, I definitely want to see how Lamar Jackson's going to pan out.
Of course, and you know Flacco. Maybe he need a little fire lit underneath him. He'll say that I'm steady as always, I'm steady Eddie, but this might make him a better quarterback. The Ravens always have the defense. The offense has been just so boring the last few years. They got exciting. They got interesting. I think the Ravens might make a run.
How do you think this situation, this QB situation, is going to play out?
See how it goes. I think it can go a couple of ways. I don't think it goes ugly. I think they've got enough veteran coaches in that room with Morenweg and Harbaugh and all those guys that it's not going to go completely sour. They have enough leadership in the building that it's going to be a Lamar camp and a Joe Flacco camp. Everyone's saying the right thing right now, but the first preseason play where Lamar Jackson goes 80 yards on a run or throws a ball,
Crowd's gonna go nuts.
the fan base wants to see Lamar as well.
Veteran leadership, veteran coaching in Baltimore. The youngest coach is in LA with the Rams. So let's move on to them. They are obviously one of the favorites in the NFC, and they have a new stadium under construction as well, but they still need to get the reigning defensive player signed.
But if it goes to training camp, you know, our goal is to make sure it's done and that he feels rewarded and that it's a win-win deal for both sides.
Thoughts, gents?
I have a lot of thoughts on the helmet.
Let's
I
go.
like Kevin's helmet.
That's what I was
Kevin
gonna
Demoff's running
ask
construction
about the helmet.
He's got a helmet with ram horns on it. I just want to know if they're bringing in Reggie to inspect the field surface. Because he's the expert. I don't know. Got a big fee.
I am the expert when it comes to field. No concretes, please.
Pass you done. Good job. So at number 7, Donald, guys, the highest ranking defensive player in the NFL top 100. Is he the most important defensive player to his team in the entire league? Is there somebody else that may be more important than he is?
I think he's definitely one of them, definitely at the top. I'm not sure if you can make a case for a defensive player who's more important. I think you can find examples of guys who are just as important, like Khalil Mack with the Oakland Raiders. We saw how much that defense struggled last year, and that defense does not operate if Khalil Mack is on that football field. You know, they are not successful without Khalil Mack, and I've had the unfortunate pleasure of playing against him when I was in Buffalo, and he tore us apart.
Yeah. The Raiders have one of those things like, can you imagine how bad they'd be if they didn't have Mack? Because they're not that great with him. He's an incredible individual player.
Look at
What do you got?
I look at the leadership that Khalil Mack brings, and he's a young guy. Then I look at the leadership that you go up the West Coast, and I look at what Bobby Wagner has on his shoulders this year in Seattle.
Talk about it, Peter.
You're losing, obviously, Richard Sherman. We don't know where Cam Chancellor is. Cliff April's not there. Michael Bennett's not there. We don't know what Earl Thomas's future is going to be. This is the guy. He leads the NFL in tackles over the last 3 seasons, and if this defense is going to be anything, it's going to be because Bobby Wagner has kept it together like glue. I feel like this is one of the most vaunted defenses of our current NFL generation and era. We love to see the Legion of Boom flying around, but Bobby Wagner the last several seasons, since being drafted in the league in 2012, has been the guy in the middle. So I look at Bobby Wagner, and like you said with Khalil Mack, what are they without him? Well, the Seahawks are willing to risk a season without Richard Sherman, without Cliff April, without Michael Bennett.
Yeah.
But they aren't willing to risk being without Bobby Wagner. He's the guy, so I'm putting him there as my... And then with Donald, real quick on Donald, it's like they brought in Talib, they brought in Peters, they got Sue. I think the defense is going to be okay regardless. He's a dominant player. They've got enough talent.
That's fair.
I don't see it on that Seattle defense, and no offense to Frank Clark and the rest of the guys, and KJ Wright, but Bobby Wagner makes that thing go.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's so crazy how, you know, a couple seasons later, how that's a completely different defense, a completely different team. They struggled on defense, they struggled on offense. They didn't have Marshawn Lynch, and it just makes you, I guess it just kind of brings on perspective just how quickly a team can change.
No doubt.
I'm going to go, you mentioned how there's a lot of players that make that defense stout in LA, and I feel like in Carolina their defense has a lot of playmakers and stars, but Kuechly is still, I think, the
Kuechly's
most important defensive piece in the league. He got in the league back in 2012, and he's just been a monster ever since, even from a leadership perspective. And I'm not even going to talk about him. I'm going to let his players speak for him on the top 100. Take a
So much trash in the field. Well, he backs it
time
up.
out. What just happened? What did you just
Oh, I
say?
was saying when he talks a lot of trash.
Kuechly
on the
does.
field.
You wouldn't think that.
I would never
A
think
lot of
that.
trash, but I love it, and I never before I got a chance to play against him, I didn't realize how much trash he talks. But
W's his angle?
He
Yeah,
backs it up
what's he-
though.
what's
But he
his
backs it up
got?
though.
Yes.
He backs it up.
What
What's
does
his
he
angle?
got? Yeah.
What's he doing? Your mama jokes? What's he got?
I mean, it's all trash. Ordinary, but
Blacker talked a lot too.
Insider trading tips, says
Yeah.
Kelsey. I love that. But
Just
here's a
little trash
stat for you. Since 2015, Panthers are 27-11, Reggie. With him in the lineup, they're 5-5 without him.
wow. That's
Unbelievable for that team.
I like Kelsey talking about it too, because Kelsey's the center. He's down over the ball.
Yeah.
He's making all the pass protection calls. He's doing this. And then he's got Kuechly calling out what play they're going to run. That's completely demoralized, and it rips the rug out before he even starts. He's a perfect person to talk about him. But I'm going to go a different approach with a guy who might be more valuable. We talked about the Raiders, Rams, Seahawks, Panthers. I'm going to go with the best player on the best defense. The number 1 defense last year was Minnesota Vikings, and I happen to think that their best player is Everson Griffin.
Yes, he
Guy
is.
plays the same exact position as Aaron Donald. I look at it this way. I think the Vikings defense reminds me a lot of the world champion Buccaneers. A lot of the same pieces, like Harrison Smith is Lynch, and Xavier Rhodes is Rondé, and Anthony Barr is Derek Brooks. Everson Griffin is Warren Sapp. I think he is the mouthpiece. I think he is the personality. And I think he is the best player. Go ahead and ask the Packers, ask the Lions. I think if you took Everson Griffin off that Vikings defense, they'd still be very good. I really think he makes them go. I think he's the most imposing player they have. You don't want to lose him. Everson Griffin's my guy.
Talking about NFL players, what about the coaches? We like to give them some love here on the show as well. And coming up right here on Good Morning Football with Peter, Kyle, Reggie, and myself. These guys call the plays, but which head coach full house today? A lot of guests will be rolling through in our studio at NFL Experience Times Square. How about Unique Ngakoue?
You know I need Unique Ngakoue. That's our guy. Can't wait, Dom. He's right here at the table.
He's been in New York for a couple of days. His gram has been lit, and now he's going to come and kick it with us in the morning on the show.
Tamba Ali's coming on, and he's got a song he's going to be performing, from what I'm told. Tamba Ali, we don't know if he's currently on the Chiefs, if he's going to be coming back to the Chiefs. We're going to get all into that.
We got a lot of artists coming out of the NFL.
You know what Tamba Ali's album is called? It's called Tamba Juice. And that's incredible. Appetite for Destruction, Sgt. Pepper's. Tamba Juice. Make you want a smoothie. I love them. Yeah, mango and go-go. I love it.
Mango and go-go. Strawberry freeze.
Big healthy foods. They're fun.
Yeah, love that. All right, let's say hi to Will Sullivan, man in the news desk out in L.A. No fake news from him.
No, absolutely not. But I do like razzmatazz. That is my favorite flavor. Just saying. Okay. Exactly. Well, we heard our guy Reggie say it a few times on Tuesday's show. Pay the man. Well, this was in reference to Steelers running back Le'Veon Bell getting a new deal. Now, another former Super Bowl winning player is echoing Reggie's same sentiment about someone else, Odell Beckham Jr. Now, former QB turned CBS broadcaster Phil Simms believes OBJ is more than worthy of getting a mega contract. Simms telling the New York Post OBJ is one of the best weapons on offense he's seen in the NFL in a long time. Simms went on to tell the paper he's never heard a teammate he's run into tell him anything bad about Beckham. Simms says the Giants need to go all in. Friend of the show, Lil Smokey, showed us just how explosive he could be last season. Now imagine him in new head coach Matt Nagy's offense. Oh, the possibilities. Cohen says Nagy has moved him at nearly every position this offseason. Consider this, my friends. His 1,578 all-purpose yards nearly matched Tyreek Hill's rookie number of 1,836. Meanwhile, Eagles defensive end Michael Bennett seeing his arraignment on a felony abuse charge rescheduled again for August 7th. Bennett allegedly injuring a stadium worker at Super Bowl 52. He has denied the claim. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero reporting Bennett's reps are hoping the case will be dismissed before the start of the regular season. And Bucs wide receiver Mike Evans holding his third annual youth summer football camp in his hometown of Galveston, Texas. The camp teaching kids age 8 through 14 skills to help them both on and off the field. And earlier this year, Evans hosting a charity event to raise money for college scholarships for underprivileged students. So Mike Evans doing his part out in the community there, holding that camp that we saw in Galveston, Texas, and earlier holding a golf basketball tournament as well.
Love that, seeing him doing good in the community, and I'm excited about his bounce back season this year, drafting him in fantasy. And I bet if you have a flag football team, you probably want Mike Evans to be a part of that. Will Subba will talk to you in a little bit, but flag football is coming to the NFL Network. The very best amateurs going up against former NFL stars for the chance at $1 million in prizes. You got Team Primetime competing in the Americas bracket, and that is a fitting spot for their quarterback, Ricky Dobbs, guys. He's a former Division I standout who typically serves America on a much different level.
We are in football land for me, holy grounds. I'm Lieutenant Ricky Dobbs. While I was at Navy, I was a starting quarterback. I broke my kneecap, and I sat out 2 games and came back and played the rest of the season with a broken kneecap and ended up breaking the NCAA record for the most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback on a broken kneecap. I haven't been able to let football go. You know, the attention, the camaraderie, and all that stuff, you just can't go cold turkey on it. July 17th right now is scheduled for my port call to go out to Bahrain. But if my flag football team, Primetime, if we make it all the way to the $1 million game, I'm going to push that to the right a week because we'll play that game on July 19th, and I'll get to Bahrain on the 24th.
That's dope.
incredible story, one of the more inspiring ones in the AFFL, but excited to get that going later this month on NFL Network. The American Flag Football League, presented by LG, premieres June 30th on NFL Network. Guys, next up,
Okay, going to my surgeon after the show.
all right,
My face.
just kick it. All right, is that the biggest problem, though, for you right now? Yes.
Yeah, that was
What's the biggest problem for the Texans, Kyle?
okay. Well, it's not Blake Bortles. That touchdown pass there. We'll find out next segment. What about the Jets, though, Kay?
Oh, I don't know. He's coming off a 13-sack season where he led the league with 7 straight sacks. Yannick Ngakoue live at the breakfast table a little bit later on GMFB. Tom Ali joining the show. And get your Dan Hansis of NFL Media. Kicks it with us as well. Welcome back to Good Morning Football. You can tweet the show at #GMFB. And starting this week, we are going one team at a time, discussing some weaknesses. What could be teams undoing in the upcoming season? And we're calling it Achilles heel. Why are we doing that?
Because I ruptured mine, Kay. I have a full Achilles heel rupture as we apply this to the Houston Texans.
But I feel like your hammy's getting a good workout every time you do this.
You know, I'm being very well taken care of. I got this great therapist, this guy, a little out of the way. His name Alex Guerrero. Fantastic guy.
Are you going TB12?
Yes, it's actually the KB12 method. Brooke has banned him from our household as well as our family card, but I like him. He's my guy. That's it.
Can you tell me a little bit about the KB12 method?
The KB12 method is going around on a scooter and eating a lot of pork products at home.
What's
And
the diet like?
it's trying to be heavily restricted. Honestly, if you get an injury like this and you're a 39-year-old guy, you can get fat real fast. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to cut out all gluten. People are telling me I need to cut alcohol because that somehow applies to my Achilles heel. We'll find out how that goes.
You also need to put some lotion on them toes. Them things looking kind of crusty.
Reggie, jump
over
right
there.
in if you got somebody. I can't really reach. You know, when someone gets injured, it's hard to make fun of their
Reggie!
Stop that. It's terrible. You're right.
Get your foot off the table.
NC-17.
Don't neglect the
So we're
toes,
doing
man.
the Achilles heel, maybe the weak spot, if we were going to poke holes just a little bit, something that could be a concern in training camp and throughout the regular season. So let's talk Texans.
Texans. The Houston Texans have this star-studded defense, and we celebrate J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney and Whitney Merciless and all these names, and yet they were the worst defense in the league last year. This is a team that gave up more points than any team in football last year, 27.3 points per game. And their defensive backfield, for all the names, we know Kareem Jackson, we know Jonathan Joseph. That's a 34-year-old starting corner. That's a 30-year-old starting corner. And Tyrann Mathieu, we love the fact that the Honey Badger signed there for a one-year deal. But I'm worried, we're at least interested and concerned about their defensive backfield because time and time again last year, Tom Brady lit them up. The offense and everything they did. Watson played the game of his life. The Patriots won. This game here, Russell Wilson, razzle-dazzle, had his day with this Texans defense all over the defensive backfield. So I look at it that way. You draft Justin in the third round, Eric Reed's little brother. We hope that he can make an impact. We hope the Honey Badgers can get you can make it. Gotta stop somebody. Jacoby Brissett can't be throwing all over you like this at T.Y. Hilton. So the defensive backfield, star-studded on paper. It's great. We can trade their trading cards and have a fun time because they're all household names. You got to stop somebody. I think the defensive backfield is what I would be interested in seeing if it can step it up from last year.
I feel like that's excellent point. I'm looking at the offense, though, and you have Deshaun Watson coming back. Let's say he's healthy. He's still coming off an ACL tear. You want to protect him. He wants to feel confident, right? He's got to get back out there and do his thing. That offensive line, I wouldn't have a lot of confidence in. I don't think they did much to add to it. They allowed 54 sacks last year. Only the Colts allowed more. No bueno. When they got rid of Dwayne Brown during the season, I think that might be the Achilles heel. Some of the guys that they parted ways with over the past year, losing A.J. Boye, losing Dwayne Brown, a guy who is really good. So you have to be able to protect Watson coming off injury. And I don't know a team that gave sacks to know their name because they allowed those 10 sacks. Like that Houston did that.
You're right. We branded him.
Guess what? They can't do that this year.
What do you think, Reg?
I think,
Back to follow. That's pretty compelling.
Back to follow. But I have to play to your point of injuries because I think injuries is one of the Achilles heels of the Houston Texans. Losing Deshaun Watson last year after the season he was having, which we all thought was going to be Rookie of the Year. J.J. Watt, season-ending injury for the second consecutive year in a row. They're ranked last, like you said, without J.J. Watt. They're 9-15 without him in the past 2 years. Then Jadeveon Clowney's had his sets of issues, and he also just had off-season surgery as well. And then Whitney Merciless as well. So I think injuries have been an Achilles heel for this team. If they can be healthy, I think they can definitely make a push for possibly winning the division.
It's one of the biggest ifs, like, in the whole league. Like, we spent a lot of time talking Texans in the offseason. All those names you mentioned, like, how is J.J. Watt going to look? I mean, this is another injury and another injury from maybe a guy who was a top 5 player in the whole league. Does he come back like J.J. Watt, or is he
It'll be tough.
We don't know. Like, I think only surgeons know, or maybe J.J. I don't know.
I've made the point before. I'm not comparing the two players, but like RG3 had a bad ACL injury and was never the same quarterback.
Right.
Deshaun Watson, I mean, everyone's saying he's going to be great, but like, I don't know if we can expect from Wentz or Watson, these guys day one to be the same thing they were before the injury. That's a serious, serious injury. Whether people recover from it or not, I just want to temper expectations on the athleticism that we saw before that injury.
That's why I love the Eagles this year as a dynasty, even that they have 2 quarterbacks that can go out there and get it done. Backup quarterbacks are premium in this
It's
league.
huge. And as it pertains to the Texans, even if they are good, and Deshaun is Deshaun, and JJ is JJ, I don't know if it's going to be good enough. My Achilles heel for the Houston Texans is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like, it's that simple, because even if they are good and they get after it, I think the Jags might have more horses. And think about it this way. Hey, you're talking about the Sacksonville thing. Houston sacked them 14 times. That's stupid. You can't do that in this day and age. Peter, you talked about how the Texans corners, I think you said 34 and 30 years old. Well, the Jaguars corners are 26 and 23. They're the best team in the league. So we love Nuke the Bomb and everything like that, but who doesn't love Boye and Ramsey? And guys, let's say Deshaun Watson comes back, he youngs, he recovers fast, does blood spitting, whatever the hell he's got to do these days. He can run around, make plays. Telvin Smith is the fastest linebacker in all of football. He can run with him. Yannick Ngakoue, Calais Campbell. I just think Jacksonville has the horses, and then on offense, they're going to pound the bejesus out of Leonard Fournette. Even if Houston's right, I think Jacksonville's better.
It'll be hard to pound the bejesus out of him if J.J. Watt is healthy, though.
I hope so. I hope that's a
That
problem.
literally sheds double teams. So it'll be tough. It'll be fun to see.
Things could just break really right for them, or not so much.
No doubt.
I don't really know what to make of the Texans.
Huge mystery.
Yeah, they're ceiling with Deshaun Watson under center healthy. Woo-wee. All right, up next on Good Morning Football, it is the knockout stage of the Good Morning Football Cup, World Cup, Schmerld Cup. We've got the GMFB Cup here on the show. Who answers to the next one?
Right?
Good Morning Football. Yes, we
One of our
are.
favorite crews. Love Mr. Nance. The best.
Football as well. This is our show. It's Good Morning Football. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We have all the news you need from across the league, coast to coast, out in LA right now with Will Selva. Hey,
What's
Will.
going on there? Okay, if I could only see the thought bubbles over everybody's head in the commercial break.
My question is, do you get to hear our commercial break?
I'm not going to say. I'm not going to give up my sources. That's a yes. Come on, KB. Jeez. Come on. No, I don't hear anything. Either way, surprise, surprise, right? Patriots quarterback Tom Brady named the #1 player in NFL Network Top 100 rankings. And just as a reminder, the rankings voted on by the players and the players only. Now, Brady posting on the gram, "I am honored, grateful, and appreciative of such an incredible honor." He went on to say, "It doesn't matter if you start #1 or number 199. Bring the same discipline and determination every single day. You will see progress. We're always learning and growing." Words of wisdom by TB12. There's one to grow on. From one-star QB to another, Ben Roethlisberger not on the list of top 10 quarterbacks for NFL Network analyst David Carr. DC taking some heat for it, as you can imagine. His rationale: the future Hall of Famer has the most talented, skilled players in the league with Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, which make him look great. DC's DMs were crackling, I'm sure. And if nothing else, this story allows us to show vintage Jeff Hostetler video. Haas telling the Three Guys Before the Game podcast that when he was a rookie playing on the scout team offense with the Giants, he inadvertently plunked Bill Belichick in the noggin. Haas says Belichick started ripping him as he was picking up all his papers that fell from his hands. Haas saying he felt accepted at that point because defensive players kept coming up to him telling him, "Great job." Shrek, this is a story that was meant for you with the accompanying video, right? This is for you.
Yeah, that was perfect. Now I want to see the 7th-round rookie at LSU throw a ball right at Belichick. Let's see how that goes.
Exactly. Whoa, come on, Shregs.
Not good advice. Not good advice. That's cool, though, Hostetler. Thank you, Will. We'll get back to you in a little bit. The World Cup's still kicking the next couple of weeks, and yesterday we had that incredible Argentina-Nigeria battle I was watching. We've had a tournament of our own called the GMFB Cup. We randomly redrew each division in the NFL, put them into 8 different groups, and now we are on to the next round. You guys at home, the Twitter fans, you are voting. So let's look at the results of some of the games of the knockout round. Well, the first matchup was Chiefs and Raiders. We put it to Twitter who would win. Chiefs Kingdom came out in force.
Wow.
A big win, too. They win by a 64 to 36% vote. Chiefs fans coming out in force over a very fervent Raiders fan base. I'm shocked by
I
this.
just cannot believe that they went.
Not see that happen.
36.
The Chiefs advanced
that's
to
a
the
landslide.
final.
That's
Chiefs
like
go to the
Antonio
final
Julio
eight.
Jones yesterday.
And they're not thinking about the game, right? It's just based on as many voters as shows up, right?
Chiefs advance to the final 8. Raiders go home. What do you got, Kyle?
I got one right here. I got Saints Chargers. Was it close? I'll let the people decide. This is a great game. Rivers, Breeze's old team. And how did this sucker come out? Bam! 66-34. I mean, that's a 2 to 3 touchdown.
Who that
game
nation,
right
baby?
Chargers are loaded.
That's 35-14. That's what that is.
Yes, the Chargers fans might be a little schizophrenic right now. I don't know if they know what's up and what's down or where they live. So the Saints fans, clear vision, 66-34.
Who that nation?
And not happy we gave Stephon Diggs so much love yesterday.
Oh, come on.
Actually, I
There
wasn't
was
really
a lot of, hey, how did you let that happen from
You
Saints?
should ask them the same question. Make a tackle. We don't have them on.
Yeah, let my dog live, man. He made a mistake, man. People make
There's
mistakes.
10 other guys on the field. Come on, now knock it down.
People make mistakes, man.
Let's move
No, look at
on
me. Are you kidding me?
to the Steelers
Prevent
and
defense.
the Browns.
Yeah.
They face each other over 100 times in history. Would the Steelers get another win? They would.
Yeah.
62% against 38%. They're now 72-58 in all-time history.
Steelers advance.
It's really 71, but I count that as one.
Week 1. Baker Mayfield versus Ben Roethlisberger. Do it for real, but maybe Tyrod. I want Baker. It'll probably be Tyrod.
It's Tyrod. Who you got?
I had the Bears Patriots. I was a little worried about this one because the Patriots have been so good. I was a little worried that this might be a landslide.
Come on, Reggie. Come on.
And it ended up being a landslide. 57% to 43%. The last time the Patriots played in the Super Bowl, the Bears destroyed them. So I think Patriots fans are a little
That's right, Reggie.
upset about that. Which
Peter,
is why they
who's
came out
MVP
full
of that
force.
Super Bowl?
Richard Dent.
Richard Dent, Hall of Famer 95. What's next? Give us a good matchup.
All right,
Here, come on.
NFC, certainly the Panthers fans would come out in force. They're playing the Eagles in the knockout round. Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champions, but the Panthers have a big fan base.
Keep pounding.
Thomas Frisky
pounding.
always in the
Come
show
on.
about the Panthers.
Oh.
There was no pounding here. This was all Eagles. They dominated. This is the biggest lopsided one we had thus far. Eagles advance to the final 8 as they should. Defending Super Bowl champions keep on rolling.
You think
Thomas
the Super Bowl had
Frisbee.
anything to do with this?
Yeah, I think we had a lot to do with it. Yes, those people are still drinking. All right, let's get a good matchup. We got a great rivalry. Packers, Vikings. Same part of the country generally, no time zone advantage in the voting. Who comes out? Is it purple or green? Green or purple?
Now we're talking.
With a slight margin of 4% victory, but they advance. No Skullhorn today, Kay Adams. The Pack moves on.
Wow. I'm surprised.
I'm
by that,
very
too. What is
surprised.
happening on this show? The World Cup. You just never know.
That's it.
You never know, Peter.
Iceland.
Let's move on to...
Eliminated.
Right? Is
Gone.
that your adopted team, by the way? Because you love Iceland.
I liked it. Yeah, I mean, Poland's out, so why not?
Iceland.
Take me in, Iceland.
Both are eliminated.
I love Bjork.
Pick another cold place.
300,000 people live on the island, and they're advancing in the World Cup. It's an unbelievable story.
We got
Let's move
380
on.
million. We can't even get in. They got 300,000. I win the dang thing.
How about the Shannon?
They're out. They lost.
They did?
They're gone.
Is there not like a loser's bracket? All right, wait a minute.
This ain't the NIT championship.
Who won, Eagles or Patriots? Now, who you got?
I stopped watching when I started crying when the Poland lost. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the Shanahan Bowl between the Falcons and the 49ers.
Yeah.
Kyle
they
Shanahan,
vote?
of course. Where did the votes lie between the Falcons and the Niners here? Closest one yet, I do believe. 57% Falcons just get it.
All right.
What?
No, nothing. I like it. It's 14%. I think Atlanta's still fervent fan base, right? That'll get that
Yeah.
Super Bowl. It doesn't surprise me.
Home with the
surprised.
Super Bowl this year. I'm excited about that.
Good call.
The Niners fans, they're so big on Twitter. They didn't show up. No, yeah, I was surprised.
99% of our fans.
You were wasting them up on that.
99% of the tweets we get on this show are from Niners fans. They didn't vote on this poll.
You should call them the 99ers, right?
The last game was a battle for South Florida. Jacksonville versus the Buccaneers. Let's see how this one
Come on, stick carriers. First of all, why is
this 16% bar, so that should be a lot more.
I actually looked into this. 50,000 votes in there, Lenny Curry. He voted 15,000. That's why he's a super fan of the show. That's why it was 84%.
84%? That's not even close.
Yeah, Tampa doesn't have a lot going for it. I don't know if you checked, Reggie. It's a tough time to be a Bucs fan.
So Straight, what happens now?
Now we go down to 8 teams. We're going to have another bracket round, so teams like the Chiefs and the Saints will play.
Okay.
Steelers, Patriots. We're going to present those in the next couple
Steelers, Pat, get to play each other?
And then we're going to narrow it down all the way. So when the World Cup is actually being played for, our World Cup will also be there.
The GMFB Cup, and I like that. What a runaway by the Jags there to wrap
Yeah,
it
that
up.
was incredible.
They win South Florida. I think they won the hearts of a lot of NFL fans. And we have one of their superstars on the show coming off a Pro Bowl season where he accounted for 13 sacks. Yannick Ngakoue joining the show. He's joining us at the breakfast table. A friend of the show, one of our...
Welcome back to Times Square on a Wednesday. We are counting down to the beginning of the 2018 season. We cannot wait. Today, guess how many days until kickoff? 71. 71 days. Each day we're asking a different question, whatever question we want, whatever floats our boat. We here love personality, players, fans, coaches, everything. So with our 32 head coaches right now, today's question is this simple. Which NFL coach has the best personality? However you want to define that. Funniest, guy you want to go on a road trip with, guy you want to have a beer with, any way you want to do it. P. Schrags, Mr. Personality over there. You're an expert. What would you think?
I feel like I know most of these coaches on a personal level, just from being at all these events. I don't have a relationship with the guy that I'm choosing. I don't know if it's an age thing or just I haven't done a lot of Chiefs games, and I didn't do a lot of Eagles games before that, but Andy Reid is beloved around the league. Andy Reid is beloved not only by other coaches, and Ron Rivera will speak volumes of what he means to him in his career. Matt Nagy will do the same. But players love Big Red. And I'm talking about guys like Marcus Peters, who was just traded away and said, it wasn't Big Red. I love Big Red. They love Big Red. And I love him as a fan and as a guy who covers the game because he's got a great personality. Check out Andy Reid. This is after a post game. Andy Reid comes barging through the door and does the dab.
Peter, you guys get along great.
What's up, Big Red? I love this. And then every year we go to that coach's photo, and it's not everyone's wearing khaki pants and a tight, white shirt and sitting down. Look at what Andy Reid sports every year. It is the Hawaiian Tommy Bahama shirt.
It's a made
he
guy.
Rocks it every single year. This is him in his. That's next to a bunch of other coaches who are dressed to the nines.
Yep.
Andy Reid says, "This is me dressed to the nines." All right. Coaches love him. Players love him. Media who covers him loves him. And I think if Andy Reid, if the world is a good place, Andy Reid gets a Super Bowl ring before it's all said and done. He's struggled in the playoffs the last couple of years. They make jokes about his time management. I'm not here for that. You're talking about best personality. I'm talking about Andy Reid, and I hope he does find success at the highest level, hoisting a Lombardi before it's all said. And when he does hoist that Lombardi, I want a dab, and I want to be wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Andy Reid is one of my favorite coaches I never got a chance to play for. I remember when I was in New Orleans, we would steal plays that they would use for Brian Westbrook. So I did a lot of studying on Andy Reid's offensive systems, all the creativity that he brings to the game. And to this day, he's one of my favorite coaches that I've never got a chance to play for.
Have you met him, though?
Just after games, shaking his hand, just out of respect, because I always had so much respect for him, what he was able to do, and just all the creativity he always brings. He's always pushing the envelope.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
So we stole a lot of their plays when I was in the world.
That running in and doing the dab, that's perfect. You get along with him. That's Peter going to a restaurant, they got queso dip. Bam! Same thing. That's Peter, same shot.
Well, he's back. Kyle's back.
Kyle's back. Dabbing and talking about my queso dip.
Everything's A-okay over here. I think I took this from the perspective of who would I just like to be around? Who's like an affable, good energy guy? And if I was in an NFL locker room and I was a football player, who, if I had a problem, would I want to go to? Or who I think would treat me fairly, but like in a nice way? And I picked Mike Zimmer. To me, Mike Zimmer is just, and he's been through so much, and his resiliency and his ability to overcome adversity and bring everybody, clearly, I don't know him, but you can see from what his players say and everybody around him, and just him at the podium even, and what his team does on the field. He lifts everyone around him. They've been through a lot as a team. He's been through a lot personally, and so for him to still smile, for him to still be engaging, for him to still see positivity, I think he is the best personality in the league, because I think that's very rare. And he's got a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
Take a look.
I've seen your show a few times, and it's the all or nothing, and Kay's throwing that out there, but that's really not what it is for us. We're just trying to get better.
Dude, you were bunting in the batting cage. Who goes in the batting cage and bunts? I'm trying to hit jacks.
You fouled a ball off your shin. I was bunting to get the timing of the batting machine. That's what a real baseball player does.
Kyle, those are two examples where he was like clowning on Dion and on me, but he could have been like mean or any, but it made me feel good about it. Like it was like,
Welcome to the club.
it was like, I'm letting you know that I know.
You're on the inside.
You're on notice.
Yeah.
I got you.
There's clowning on someone, and then there's just like busting chops.
Yes.
That's what you do with the people you like.
He's good at that.
You can't bunt to the batting cage. It's like laying up at Topgolf.
Yeah.
Let it rip.
And the thing with Kay, it's like, all he had to do was, he acknowledged our show, and he says Kay by name. Like, it's a little small thing. It's savvy, but that's Mike Zimmer. He's beloved by guys who, around the league, have worked with him and who have covered him in the media because he treats you like a person. He acknowledges what's going on. It's not just him in this narrow-minded thing, and you're right. He's overcome so much on a personal level that everyone's...
But it's not even that it's not like he's so nice he's not to be messed with. Like, don't think that when he said Kay that I wasn't like on notice. Oh, snap. He knew that I said that. Yeah.
All right, Reggie, it's 32, 2 down. Who would you like to pick?
My guy is Mr. Chucky himself, John Gruden.
Okay, he's back.
I'm such a fan of John Gruden. Just being able to watch him from the coaching on the sidelines, haven't gotten a chance to know him. I love watching Gruden grinders.
Yeah.
When he really gets in, he's going through the X's and O's and he's breaking down these young quarterbacks. But then also just his personality with guys. I mean, guys love him. I remember one time he came and he spoke to our team and he talked about dreams and nightmares and how, most people are fans of dreams, and he was like, I like guys that are nightmares. And when he told us his speech, every single person and just everything he brings to the game. I'm so happy he's back in the game. I can't wait to see how this transpires with Derek Carr and his team, Khalil Mack, all those guys, because I think skies are the limits. But also we have some voiceover of John Gruden.
That's holding, man. That is holding. Holding. Take him back. Take him back. I like this ref. Always like this guy. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your skull? What's he throwing at? Where's he throwing that ball? That's intentional grounding. What's the rule? Give me weak right slot. Fake 99 toss front. Make it right. Boom, boom, boom. Get out.
Right there. Definitely that game. Man, so I can't wait to see what he does.
At least what he says. And what he says.
And what he says, too. He's definitely a guy like you wouldn't want to run into him in the dark alley.
I remember when he got the Monday night gig, Warren Sappin on the radio said, I don't know how he's going to do it. He can't talk without swearing. And somehow he did. It's incredible.
And it's fun because, he's got that mouth, and Derek Carr is, has never said a curse word.
So true. All right, so one left. I'm going to go with the guy that we all love. I'm going to go with Douglas Charles Marrone of the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you don't know much about him, you might think, this is a big dude, salt of the earth, Cortland State, wherever he started, long on the track. You might not think he's necessarily that sophisticated, and boy, would you be wrong. Check this out.
Can you please tell me about your background in Shakespeare?
Sure. I was in high school, I was obviously played football, and my high school drama teacher was also my English teacher, and we were doing Shakespeare, so I had to do a soliloquy on Othello. So I was there, and it was, I think it was, I did, touch me not so near, yet I persuade myself to speak the truth. I'd rather this tongue cut from my throat than do offense to Michael Cassio. So I do this soliloquy, and she's like,
yes! Knocking over herself. So excited.
What?
And he stops by the set while I'm gone. Ooh, they come here, not even a guest on the show. As a tourist?
He's wearing flip-flops. I'm just going down and get my bag.
Shakespeare.
Like, hey,
Oh, hey, what's up, Coach? Doug Marone. I would do a sonnet with
bologna sandwich.
Oscar Mayer, I love you. Doug Marone, you're the best.
Marone's a good answer. You didn't go with Bill Belichick.
No, we'll get to that in a different segment.
Strange. Coming up, we have Yannick Ngakoue
Yeah.
on the show. Tamba Ali joins us a little bit later. But is it comeback season for Jerry Rice? Probably not. Welcome to Good Morning Football. We are live at NFL Experience. Welcome to Times Square, the center of it all. It's New York City. It is Wednesday, June 27th. This is Kyle Brandt, Peter Schrager, Reggie Bush. I'm Kay Adams, and I think we should start a new segment, guys. I know it's Whiteboard Wednesday, and we'll get there. Where somehow there's like a Reggie Bush FaceTime roulette. Like we get to take his phone and pick someone to FaceTime and see if they answer. Because I've seen you FaceTime some really famous people over the past 3 days.
Reggie, you got great football stories. I know you got great Hollywood stories. One of those coming out.
I do got some Hollywood
True Hollywood stories. That's
yeah,
what I'm
some
saying.
Hollywood stories.
Just think about it. You know,
Some
so
good
we-
ones.
I like a random
Campfire
One
stories.
of those things where we take his contact list.
Ask Nate. Nate knows a couple of them, but we call them campfire stories.
Okay.
Pretty good ones.
Yeah, I want to FaceTime with Ice Cube right here at the table. I'll take anybody.
Do you have Snoop Dogg's number? You have Snoop Dogg's number?
Snoop used to come to all our games and practices.
If
when
you
we were in
FaceTime
college.
Snoop, would he answer? Obviously not now. It's in the West Coast.
Probably not. I don't know. It's early as hell back in the West Coast. I doubt he's awake.
Yeah.
Maybe he
He
is
has to
awake.
wake and then also do something else. I don't know.
How about Lendell White? Can we get him on FaceTime?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
I love Lendale. Huge Lendale.
Check.
Yes.
Love having Reggie Bush here at the table, hanging out with us this week. As always, you guys can tweet the show at #GMFB. We've got some great guests coming up. We've got Tamba Ali, Yannick Ngakoue, but it's time for the lead block.
Lead block!
Because it's Wednesday. And what happens on Wednesday?
Well, we do the whiteboard, Kate.
Yes, we do.
White
Get the markers.
board.
Reggie, you've done this before, right?
Oh, yes.
All right,
Once
so
or
let's
twice.
get this thing going. Number one, here's what happened. Hall of Fame wide receiver Jerry Rice. He said that he thinks he could make a comeback, come back to the NFL, and catch 8 balls at the age of 55. 80. 80 balls at the age of 55. I don't want to know if you guys think that's true or not. We're not going to discuss that. I'd like to know the Hall of Famer that you'd like to see make a comeback onto the gridiron this year.
I'm going first.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with same position, newly inducted Hall of Famer.
Okay.
My guy, Terrell Owens. And I just watched him on Instagram video run a 4.4 at
I heard
when
that.
he's 45,
That's legit?
45 years
Yeah,
old. I
I
guess
Is
that's
it-
legit.
is that legit?
Julio Jones clocked it.
Wow.
And I think Mother Boy, I can't remember who it was, also clocked it. But have you seen his workout videos? And he also said on GMFB that he's still hoping to play, right?
Yeah.
You remember he said that.
Wouldn't it be the ultimate table flip if a Hall of Famer who's already inducted went back to the NFL just for a day? I mean, I would love to see it. If Jerry Rice can have 80, T.O. can have
And if
130.
somebody would do it.
If
That's
anybody
the
could
guy.
do it, it's him.
My man.
I'm not sure about Rice. Even though I love Jerry, he's one of the greatest ever. At 55 years old, I don't know if you're getting off that line.
Where do you want
Especially
him
against
to
like
go?
a Jalen Ramsey.
What's your dream scenario for him? Go to what team?
I like to see him go to the Packers. I think that
T.O. to the Packers?
Yeah, T.O. to the Packers.
Yeah.
I think that would officially get them into the playoffs.
I just want to run Jerry Rice running that quick little slant like he did with Steve Young. Like, there's a big-ass linebacker who has to defeat him. No respect to Jerry Rice if you step between the lines. You know what I mean? I don't care how great, you're the greatest football player ever. See ya.
They ain't showing him
Bobby
no
Wagner,
respect.
boom.
Who you
What
got?
do you have?
I'm going with a guy who said he ran a 4.440 at the
Yes.
age of 51. I'm going with Darryl Green, the speedster from the Washington Redskins, Hall of Famer. We saw him last year in Canton. He looks like he's a 25-year-old guy and can still do it. So Darryl Green, forget his friend and his boy at a golf tournament clocked him. No, this guy has had a recorded 4.440 at the age of 50. If that's the case,
That's crazy.
put him out there. The Redskins can use him. Let's do it. Darryl Green, come on back.
Darryl Green. So many great Hall of Famers. You guys are saying what people could still do and run and everything. Never mind the running. How about this guy? You tell me what this guy could still do?
Yeah.
Larry Allen could bench press 900 pounds right here at NFL Experience if you put it up to him. I still think you would be the strongest man in the NFL. He's one of the guys on the World's Strongest Man in overnight named Magnus von Magnuson or whatever. That is Larry Allen.
Yeah.
Put him at left tackle, left guard, whatever you want for the Cowboys. Somebody's getting out of the way. He's one of my favorite Hall of Famers and a friend of the show. Larry Allen.
I would go with John Randall.
John Randall, it's great.
John Randall, Vikings defense, the face paint, the trash talk, all of that. Imagine him out there with Eberson Griffin,
That'd be fun.
Sheldon Richardson and company. That would be so fun
That'd be
to
amazing.
watch. John Randall.
No doubt.
The big buzz on Twitter is that sometime before July 4th, LeBron James will announce his free agency decision as part of the trailer for Space Jam 2. So if you guys could cast any NFL player to star in a movie, in a sequel, what would it be? It's like got to be a football movie.
Okay, sure.
Like a football movie, what guy, what movie? Part 2.
I'd be willing to bet that Peter is doing a sequel to Lucas. Peter,
Yeah.
did I get it right?
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't get
But
Lucas.
Lucas. He gets the girl in the end, or maybe he doesn't.
I don't think he
Gets
does.
laid out. I'm going with Julio, and I'm putting him in Jerry Maguire. I want Julio as Rod Tidwell. I want to see him out there, and we don't get Julio talking too much, but I want to see him saying, "Show me the money," because guess what? He wants to be shown the money, and I want to see Julio interacting with Jimmy Sexton, his agent. Like Jimmy Sexton is in there in the locker room trying to get him in.
Yeah.
This is a combination that I want to see. It was 1995 the movie came out. It is now 2018. I think we're good for another Cameron Crowe doozy. Jerry Maguire 2, starring Jimmy Sexton.
I gotta follow Schrager. The greatest role for any football player we've ever seen is Rod Tidwell. Not only did Cuba Gooding win the Oscar, it's immortalized here at NFL Experience. Guys, show the picture, please. If you go down to one of these floors here, each team has its own little cubby hole. The Cardinals cubby hole, I took a picture.
Crazy?
It has Tidwell. Not Larry Fitzgerald, any of these fantastic players they've had. They have a fictional character played by the guy from Snow Dogs. They got Tidwell, but I think it's that fantastic of a role. Peter, I think I have a better choice.
KB.
I'm doing okay. It's only can do upper body. A little recency bias, but my casting as Rod Tidwell is Stefan Diggs, who was on the show yesterday, who had a very, wouldn't you say, dramatic flair. He understood where the camera was. So why don't we do a screen test right now? There's the shot. So remember the scene where Rod Tidwell comes out of the shower and he's naming all these guys who have more money than him, and then Jerry Maguire. Okay, so it's like, if I were to say to Stefan Diggs, Stefan, Odell, Antonio, Julio, those guys you named, those are marquee guys. What would his reaction be? Come on, baby. No, we don't have it. Oh my gosh. All right, so scene, line, there it is. Thank you.
Oh, that's good.
See, I mean, that's a good reaction, because Brad Tidwell goes, marquee. That was it. Stefan Diggs as Rod Tidwell and Jerry Maguire, dose.
How impressed are you, Stefan Diggs?
Really impressed. Okay, you and I have a thing where we talk about this word, hashtag presence.
Yes.
Some people, when they sit down at the table, they're just cool, and you know you like him. I was really impressed with how he was on camera. Also, is it just me, or is like, Stefan Diggs is not a big dude. Like, he is slight. He is obviously very fast, but he's taking a pounding, too, and he lives up to it. He hasn't been injured. Stefan Diggs is now one of the best friends of the show.
Behind the music on the show, when he left our set, he goes, later, skaters. That's how he left. I said, I'm in on this guy. Later, skaters. That's how he said goodbye to us. I'm okay, I'm in.
First ever guest to do a wardrobe change here at the show, the NFL Experience. It was like a Madonna concert. He comes out in different outfits. It was so cool.
Football is family.
It is. Anytime anyone wants to change here. Yannick, you want to change? If you're here, go ahead.
We're playing Whiteboard Wednesday, so you play
I
along
gotta
at
go
#GMFB.
with Ocho Cinco any given Sunday too. I will have him replace Jamie Foxx or maybe LL Cool J. You know, where he has a scene at the end where he's like, put two hands on the ball, two hands on the ball, you showboat. I would love to see Ocho Cinco in that movie because I think his personality plays directly into that movie. And can you imagine like a fight between Ocho Cinco and Lawrence Taylor?
Yes.
Remember that fight they got?
Shark? Incidentally, Reggie was FaceTiming with LL Cool J during the commercial break, right?
I gotta get my hands on that phone.
I know, I'm in. What's the password?
Is this really happening though, the Space Jam 2 thing? He's telling you that's
I don't know. It's been talked about for
It's a rumor.
years. I think it would be a terrible mistake for him to do Space Jam 2. He's never done the Jordan thing,
for
do his
him
own
to
thing.
reveal his decision during the trailer.
He's capable of that. He's capable. In 2010, he did it right there on national TV. No, I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
No, terrible.
I think that'd be dope.
Really? I don't know how to feel.
Do your own thing, my man. No.
He's already done the decision. I'm good with whatever he does now, I think, you know?
Send a tweet?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Talk to Lee Jenkins.
Yeah, SI, the best.
All right, speaking of the 4th of July, it is 1 week from today, one of my favorite holidays. So instead of writing an answer to this, I'd like you guys to draw your favorite 4th of July activity.
Okay.
All right,
So get your Bob Ross on, kids.
This is family friendly, right? Always? Okay.
I mean, it never isn't. Football is family.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's catchy. But it's also fun, though. Right?
Please get to drawing.
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of work to do.
Very
Hold on.
intricate happening over there.
Happy trees. And, here we go.
What are you doing for the 4th?
I think I'm going to be away if
Okay.
my doctor allows me to.
Oh.
I have a blown out Achilles, so I'm going to the doctor after the show today, seeing if I'm allowed to travel.
Oh,
I have to get
everybody
clearance to fly.
sending positive vibes. Kyle's made it.
Yes, thank you. Send positive vibes. And people are doing that on Twitter. All right, I finished my drawing while we were talking.
Oh, okay. You're so talented.
Who knows what this is? We're talking about 4th of July activities. Anybody, Cade, you recognize that? Peter, Reggie, I bet the people at home.
I don't know if that's...
This is Independence Day, the movie. The aliens come and explode the White House. And I'm not making any kind of metaphor. No, I whipped it up very quickly. I like to watch Independence Day, the original one, not the highly compromised second draft. The original one, Bill Pullman, Will Smith, Doug Hurst, all that. I watch it every single year. The Pullman speech still gives me the goosebumps. I do. Brooke does, whatever. It's mostly just me by myself. I love it. It's a great movie. Somehow, They have the technology to fly here to Earth, but a simple 90s era computer virus brings down the whole. They don't have Norton. Somehow that's how they bring it down. So Independence Day. That's it. No Norton.
How
but they can
about
travel.
the run Jeff Goldblum went on in the mid-90s? Going
On fire.
from Jurassic Park to Independence Day in back-to-back summers. And
Yes, he was the guy. Goldblum.
Goldblum.
Yeah, that's one of the
Life
pile of crap.
finds a way.
What do you guys got?
I went with this. I went with swimming.
You have E.T.?
This is no swimming. I like swimming in the pool.
That is good. This is South Portsmouth.
I've seen a lot.
You're not wearing a t-shirt.
I took off my t-shirt, which is protect me from the sun.
Peter now wears a hooded sweatshirt.
I wear a UV ray t-shirt in the pool because you don't want to get too burnt.
Why do you have a TV antenna coming out of your midsection? What's going on there?
Those are my legs, Kyle. I'm swimming.
Bro, that look like a dead body.
Yeah.
Let's hope that's not the case.
Is that how you see yourself? Because that's a psychiatrist's couch, Peter. You're a much more handsome and happy person than that.
I'm doing the side stroke. Elementary side stroke.
Triggs, do you swim?
Oh, I'm good. I'm like a fish.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh? Yep. I was in the little kids swim club. I was on the swim team.
I didn't know that.
Right there.
I also
One of them.
One of his chins.
One of my chins.
Peter, it doesn't appear that you're skinny dipping.
Yeah,
Is that? I don't see any swimwear. I thought maybe you'd have on some grape smugglers or something.
Smuggler.
And no speedo. Well, if you say you're a competitive swimmer, I'm sure you have.
I'm not a competitive swimmer.
Where are the pictures of that? Are you kidding me? Would you do the individual medley? The IM? Wow.
The breaststroke,
leave
the
out the picture as long as possible.
That's it.
You're actually on the water, Peter. That's
me.
We've arrived at
I'm
it.
floating.
Peter thinks he walks on water. There it is.
Floating, that's drowning.
What do you got?
I can't believe this is Reggie.
Look at this. Oh yeah, something
Mine is on the beach. Son, you see that? Look at that.
How vibrant.
You like that right there, right?
Use a highlighter.
Yeah, okay.
Highlight
That is not That's not a race. That is not an erasable
So
thing.
we have to throw that away. I guess the Rams are going to pay for that whiteboard.
Yeah,
That's fun.
It's on the
What's
Rams
the activity?
check.
What's
So
going
these
on?
fireworks, some clouds, the sun.
Where are you? St.
Clearly
Louis? Where
could not
is that?
see. I'm on the beach.
Not in St. Louis.
Where?
No.
Where is
I'm
that?
not in St. Louis.
Okay.
I'm
No,
in.
then it'd be a courthouse.
I'm in Los
Does that look
Angeles.
like a courthouse?
I'm in Los Angeles on the beach, enjoying fireworks.
three-
You see some
who are the
people
three
right there.
people?
I have no idea. It's just random people right there.
That's not you?
It's not,
And they each have one
can be.
arm? I mean, what's going on?
Just enjoying time on the beach with the fireworks. I didn't have time to draw, sand and the drinks and stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, that's it. Being on the. You didn't like it?
No,
I like it.
I can see the hate.
I'm
See, the
in.
Baker's Naked ET was a hard act to follow. I'm not hating,
Yeah.
Reggie. I'm analyzing. I'm analyzing.
Can this guy go in there?
Yeah, he can go there. Yeah, look, that works right there. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. And then you guys
There
can come
it
to the
is.
White House.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
Unless you're on the Eagles.
See, you're saying these are crazy. You watch a movie on the 4th of July.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Who sits indoors
in
doing
the-
In the evening,
Guys,
and I have a
come back to
libation, and I have some watermelon, and I watch
Kyle,
these.
be happy I'm doing this. The alternative was me drawing myself eating hot dogs, and we don't want that drawing.
Oh, yes, we do, Peter. Do it now. Blow out Selva. Get out of here.
Out in the newsroom.
Joey Chestnut over there.
In Los
What am I going to do with you
With
guys?
all the
Can
latest.
I just say this, though, with Reggie? I can't wait for his Hollywood stories about Jim Furyk. I just can't wait.
That's it.
When are we going to get those?
Icon.
Great Hollywood.
Human
Hollywood
electricity. It's
stories.
like Sam Kinison on the golf course.
Exactly.
People just rave
Can't
about
wait
it.
for those.
It's an old callback himself.
Can't wait for those, Reggie.
All
All right. Well, Rams defensive tackle Aaron Donald getting recognized as the highest-ranked defensive player on NFL Network's top 100 list. Donald coming in at number 7. That's all fine and good, but Donald wants the ultimate off-season prize. That would be a new deal. Feels like we've been talking about his contract situation about just as long as we've talked about Le'Veon Bell. In terms of Donald and where things stand with a new deal, NFL Network Steve Weish asked Rams COO Kevin Demoff at the site of the new LA stadium.
I think when you build stadiums like this, it's with players like Aaron Donald in mind. And we've been at this process working with them, for the past year and a half to try to make sure that Aaron not only is here for the opening of the stadium, but plays well into his years and that he can play in the 2022 Super Bowl at his own home stadium. So we're working on it. We'll keep pushing forward. The dialogue's been great. It's been positive. I think he and Coach McVay have a terrific relationship. And, we look forward to getting this done and, putting Aaron in the place where he should be among the highest paid defensive players.
It'll be done by training camp.
It'll be done before the stadium's done. So, no, we're going to keep hoping. I hope it's done sooner than training camp. But if it goes to training camp, our goal is to make sure it's done and that he feels rewarded and that it's a win-win deal for both sides.
strong hard hat game there. And while all that gets sorted out, Donald is busy getting yoked. The DT posting this to Instagram last week with a caption, 5 plates on each side for a grand total of 495 pounds total. Donald and company will eventually be playing here. Countless construction workers building the new LA stadium as we speak. Here's the installation of the highest steel beam of the future home of the Rams and Chargers. It's 42 feet long and weighs 12,000 pounds. Reportedly over 4 million worker hours completed thus far. Of course, it's all set to open up in 2020. It will measure more than 3 million square feet. Well, my work is done. We will have plenty more of Good Morning Football. The gang in New York will be joined by this.
Football, so excited to welcome one of our friends of the show, one of the best personalities, a guy who's going to break out onto the scene. We don't know him already. He's a 2017 Pro Bowler after racking up 13 sacks. I'm saying it again. 13 sacks, including an NFL best 7 strip sacks, because he told me last time he was here, all he cares about is actually the strip sack. And he is here as one of the anchors of the feared Saxonville D-line. Welcome back to the breakfast table, Jags defensive end Yannick Ngakoue.
7 strip sacks. That's a lot, man. You're the man.
Not enough to just get to it.
Yeah, I know.
That ball out, too.
Got to.
I follow you on Instagram. I asked you last time you were here just a couple of months ago, what are you up to? What do you do this offseason? You're like grinding, playing, getting better. Have you had any fun? Have you done anything? What have you been doing with any bit of your time off?
Yeah, actually, I just went to Martinique in the West Indies. My grandparents were, actually my grandmother was actually sick, so it was a good feeling being able to go back over there and see her. Haven't seen her since I was 10 years old, so you know, it was a pretty special moment. And actually just seeing the culture where I come from and actually learning, actually ran into a guy and he was the same age as me, and he was just showing me around the whole island, so it was pretty cool.
Martinique.
Cool. Martinique.
How long does it get to Martinique? What is that trip?
Couple flights, one stop in Guadeloupe, one stop to get to Haiti, and then straight flight to Martinique.
Awesome, man. That's cool, and I'm glad you got to see your grandma. We talk on the show all the time about these young stars in the league, and we did a thing after the top 100. We talked about our underappreciated guys, maybe weren't ranked as high. I came out, and I know you're right here, and I'm not doing it because you're on the show, but I said you should have been higher. You know, you had 13 sacks, 7 strip sacks. You came in at 88. What? All jokes aside, and all this, you know, we love everyone. 88 is, to me, disrespectful for the season that you had. How did you take that news? Were you happy to just be on the list, or do you see yourself as even higher on the league?
Personally, myself, I see myself as one of the top guys in my position, but you know, I got to take the route as coming in as a third-round pick. I didn't come in with all the hype. I didn't come in with all the glory and stuff like that, so I have to work my way to get to the level I want to be appreciated at. So, you know, I appreciate being on the top 100 list. It's a great thing for my peers, but, you know, I'm trying to be the best. I want to be number one.
Let's go 2019. We're here next year at this time. Where do you think you'll be on that list?
Top 10.
Top 10?
Top 10, absolutely.
That's the goal.
No doubt in my mind.
What do you got to do to get there, you think?
Same formula I've been doing, you know, sticking to the same trainers I've been training with back in defense. But, you know, I think from a top 100 standpoint, that's just one aspect, but I want to be known in all different type of aspects. So.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, Yannick, because the other players are starting to learn about you and like you. We love you. Obviously, your head coach, Doug Marrone, loves you. It's a funny quote, though, because he was talking about your play and how you looked at minicamp, and he was trying to hype you, and he had a hard time finding the words. This is a quote from Coach Marrone. I can't speak for the overall reasons of why he's such a great player. In other words, there's so many things that go into it, I just can't speak to it. He couldn't find the words, and Marrone's pretty good with that stuff. He kind of kept stumbling over himself. So I want you to help your head coach, all right? What are 3 words that you would use to describe yourself in your play? What are the 3 words?
3 words are, number 1 would be consistent. Number 2, I would say definitely a leader. Number 2 is definitely number 3. Just say like work ethic, like I said, it falls back into
grind,
but work ethic, not a follower, getting guys going, motivated, and things like that. Actually, this offseason, I won a Paul Posluszny Award, which is an award was just named after Paul that retired as the guy that came in the offseason and, you know, gave it his all in the weight room and on the field. You know, we didn't have to be there, it was voluntary, but I just wanted to be there.
Okay.
So that was different. Yeah, I appreciate that. So that's a big award to win.
Love it, man.
Speaking of some of your teammates, I know in the draft you guys added Taven Bryan to an already deep defensive line and a great defense. How do you see him fitting in to the already deep defensive line that you guys have, helping you guys somehow take this defense to another level?
Yeah, definitely. Me and Calais have already taken them under our wing, trying to show them different things and how we do things in Jacksonville. As a D-line, Coach Walker always harps on us going fast and being the physical most physical group of the team.
Yeah.
And basically, we're just trying to show him that this is how we do things up there, and he's been doing a great job.
I had Coach Washington in Detroit, so he's a great coach.
Yeah, definitely
Really
great guy.
coach.
Great guy.
Really good coach.
Yannick, you're so confident. So are a lot of other people, a lot of other teams, a lot of other egg avatars on Twitter. They're confident that you guys aren't going to be as good as you were last season, or even take a step forward. But the 2018 Jags are going to fall off. There's a tough schedule. The rest of the division's gotten stronger. Address the haters right now.
Basically, why we only got a new few pieces, but it's the same 2017 squad you're seeing, just more people, but I can't say too much. Just you'll see the first week.
You set him up perfect for him to hit a home run, and
I
then
think you took it from me. You took it.
it goes viral, and he says, we're gonna be. No, just watch. I love that. It's a savvy pro, and for a young guy, you certainly are that. And I love talking to you, and we love talking about you because you're more than just a football player. You bring it back to the community. So we know that you have a youth football clinic coming up in Washington, D.C. What is that all about, and how important is it to give back now to the kids in the area that you grew up in?
It's a free camp for kids coming from the same areas I came from, coming from broken homes and things of that nature, and it's free. So we're just bringing them all together. Got guys like myself, the main Carter just got drafted to the Carolina Panthers. Guys like Eddie Golden plays for the Chicago Bears. All guys with the Friendship Collegiate Academy coming together and just giving back to the youth in DC, inner city kids.
You got it all going on, man. It's incredible stuff that you do. We're trying to teach everybody who's watching about you as a player, and they're learning fast. We want to know more about you as a person, so we know you got the great personality too. We're going to go around the table and just ask you some kind of rapid-fire questions about things you're into, things you like. You ready to roll?
Yeah.
All right, first one, guys. What is the first one? Yannick, we love movies here. We live for movies. Reggie loves movies. What is your favorite movie of all time?
All 3 Fridays.
All three? Every Friday after next?
Spend 9 hours watching that.
Three.
You want more Friday? You want a week from Friday?
I want the last Friday. I need the last one. It's too, yeah, that's what I heard.
Friday after next.
Which character do you from Friday kind of say, that's my guy? Are you Debo or are you Roy?
Oh, man, maybe Money Mike.
Money Mike.
All right, what's next, Reg?
Favorite cheat meal?
Cheating with Chris.
Ruth Chris.
That's the classic right away.
Never heard. Classic treat.
That's it.
What's the meal? You get the steak?
Sweet potato casserole, steak.
Okay.
I got to do my veggies, some broccoli, and what I end with. I like a Shirley Temple on the side too.
A Shirley Temple. How do you get the steak cooked?
Medium well.
Oh, man.
Potato casserole.
I'll have the onion.
Guilty pleasure music. The group or the band or the song maybe that's on your playlist right now that maybe not everyone would expect Yannick Ngakoue to have on the playlist.
That's a great question. I mean, gospel. I listen to a lot of gospel too.
No shame in that.
Start off my day, so I got some Chris Franklin in there.
Franklin?
Yeah. All that.
What drives you?
What drives me? I think we talked about it earlier, man. Just not that recognition. That's really what drives me. I want to be the best, known as the best, top guy in my position. And you see all the guys that, like I said, get talked about, and I feel like I've surpassed a lot of what they've done already. But I have to just take a different path to get where I want to be.
Trace, I feel like he'd be really effective with your system of helping guys go to the next level when you would talk to
Gerald McCoy, Buccaneers defense is a little overpaid, and he was not happy. Brandon Graham, we questioned the Eagles. They responded. When you watch this stuff on TV, and Kay's asking you what drives you, do you guys as a Jaguars franchise, do you guys hear that, hey, 30-second market, maybe a flash in the pan, 1 year, maybe a little too young, maybe it's a little too brash? What's the feeling in that locker room?
In the locker room right now is basically, personally come from me, my rookie year, I came from a team seeing the bad side of things is losing weekly. Second year came into a team where we came from a bad season to playoff team. So coming from both of those sides, you got to just make sure you're telling guys in the locker room, look, this is what we went through and this is where we came from. So we got to stick to the same formula, the same plan, so we can get back to that same position for this time finish.
Yannick, when you're training and you're getting in shape and you're doing all your weights this off season, who's the player you're thinking about, the opposing player, we got to get this guy? Is it someone in your division like Mariota, or maybe is it Tom Brady? Who is the guy, the Jacksonville defense got to get this guy next year?
I can't really specifically say no player, but
Sean Watson looks pretty good, man.
yeah, Deshaun Watson, he's a great player.
Who's the other team in that division that you guys know that
Tennessee.
you're gonna have to
sure.
get past?
Tennessee, yeah, because
Yeah,
those guys I got a ton of respect for those guys. I'm pretty sure they have respect for us. So those guys, we always battle at it. We go at it.
No doubt.
We respect you and your game and the fact that you come to visit us on your trip back to New York. We had Doug Marrone in here just a week ago. So always, we're a Jaguar-friendly place here at NFL Experience. Hope you take a look around, by the way. It's like 4 floors of NFL madness. I'm sure you love all the Super Bowl rings that you'll have on your finger at one point in your career. So happy to have you here. And we're going to move this thing along and hit a break right now because we're going to talk about the Texans. You said the Tennessee Titans get your respect. What could be the weakness? This is Good Morning Football, hashtag GMFB. Let's flip it over to Will Selva for some news in the newsroom. And Will, we apparently are going to have story time with Reggie Bush coming up, so stay tuned
Nice.
for that.
Got something special for you,
All
Will.
right, Reggie. Okay, I can't wait. But none of this Furyk business. We're talking like Snoop Dogg.
Nah, this is Kenny Chesney.
Oh, okay. All right, nice.
Kenny Chesney.
All right, I can't wait for that, Reg. Can't wait for that. Well, we've got some news to tell you about, and we've heard Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers talking about playing until their early to mid 40s. Now, Broncos linebacker Von Miller believes he'll be chasing quarterbacks for a long, long time. 29-year-old Miller telling the sports reporting website The Athletic he has 10 more seasons in him, maybe more. Miller believes when he tore his ACL, he realized that he couldn't just show up. He now uses personal trainers and chefs to stay in tip-top shape. Now, like Miller, Chandler Jones likes to gobble up QBs. Sounds like those aren't the only things he's gobbling up. Jones says he's put on some weight, in fact, estimating that he now weighs 275 pounds. He counted on to play defensive end in the new 4-3 base defense installed by new head coach Steve Wilks. He's collected the most tackles for a loss and sacks in the NFL in the last 2 seasons. Now, with a lucrative contract of $48 million comes a greater responsibility to, well, be great. Chiefs wide receiver Sammy Watkins out to prove he deserves the dough. Head coach Andy Reid says Watkins is handling and learning all the receiver positions. Watkins believes Reid has made him a better player. He says he's never been in an offense like this. And 49ers corner Richard Sherman has quite the workout partners. He posted on Instagram he was with, among others, Aqib Talib, Xavier Rhodes, and Darius Slay. He ended with the hashtag DB Academy. Now, Tom Brady chimed in and said, "Sign me up." That's not all he said. He said, quote, bleep. I may have to get the QB family together after watching this. What do you think, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Russell Wilson, which would make for quite a flag football game? It has to be You Mad Bro Bowl. It has to happen, right? It would be incredible.
You mad, bro?
Man, bro.
Oh, Kyle.
I like it. I'm in.
Right? Let's do this.
We like you, Will Selva. Stay tuned. Don't go too far. We've got a story coming up. We appreciate you. Thanks for the update. Now, last season, we missed these guys. He mentioned Aaron Rodgers. We missed him. We missed Odell Beckham Jr., the biggest stars in our game. And now we're looking forward to their comeback. It is comeback season. Let's relive some of their greatest moments before this season starts. Remember why we love these guys.
Yeah, these are awesome.
Meet tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network. And now, an impromptu campfire story by Reggie Bush.
We'll get it.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sean Payton has friends with a couple different country music fans, and Jimmy Buffett. I got a chance to meet Jimmy Buffett and Kenny Chesney. So we're at one practice. It's in training camp, and we go to play against the Cincinnati Bengals. And then leading up to that game, we had practices against the Cincinnati Bengals. So Kenny Chesney had a concert also at the same time when we were in Cincinnati. And so this is what I love about the NFL is that most teams, every team I've been on, they always do really cool events with Make-A-Wish kids, and they bring them in, and they have them on the sidelines, and everybody kind of breaks down around them, after the practice. So there was this one practice where, we were wrapping up the practice, and I see this guy standing off to the side. He's kind of by himself, small guy, not really big. And I'm thinking that, okay, this is one of the guys that we're going to bring up. It's going to say something. So Coach Payton starts to introduce him and talk about him, and we're all thinking like, who is he talking about? Because we see this kid over here who's, sitting down by himself and there's nobody with him. And so he introduces Kenny Chesney, and then we're like, well, who's that? Who's Kenny Chesney? And as he introduces him, he kind of walks up, but before that, I thought Kenny Chesney was one of the Make-A-Wish kids that was coming up to break down. Because he's small, not very big, he has no hair, and I'm thinking that, okay, and all of us are thinking that, this is the Make-A-Wish kid that's going to come up and break down, the team huddle, and it ended up being Kenny Chesney. And so I was very embarrassed because the whole time I'm thinking that, maybe this might be our next Make-A-Wish kid who's going to come up and break it down.
How was his breakdown?
It was not good.
No? Not even a good breakdown? Oh, my gosh. Kenny Chesney fan, sorry about that.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I thought it was going to end with he did this rousing rally.
We put him back there to return a punt, and all I remember is one of his people saying, "Don't hit Chesney." Like, he didn't want us to hit him.
Right.
So
Fair catch, Kenny Chesney. That's how you do it.
yeah, you have to catch it, man.
Let's face it, last week we had some incredible options. We crowned the guy who has the highest social score. Last week's top spot was the back pass. This is pretty incredible stuff.
It's insane. This guy, you put him on a flag football field, he'll beat Vic and all of them. I'm telling you.
But can
That's crazy.
the options today, the contenders, beat it is the question,
question.
Kyle.
Yeah.
So let's start it with our boy. I mean, Royale is to trendsetters what Mark Ingram is to Angry Runs.
It's our the one to blame. I love it.
All the time with another, what? I'm sorry.
Wait, watch this.
That is dope.
What?
I've actually seen this video.
I don't understand why is he not, I'm like, go an American Ninja Warrior, but also like, I don't know, be on an NFL team? What is the deal here?
You got to be able to be used somehow if you can do that, right? This is like wire work in Hollywood.
Washington State player or something. He's insane.
The legs too.
You know what, Kay? I was freaking out about the flip. I didn't even know there was going to be a ball involved. I just thought he was going to do a cool flip, and that was enough for me. I was totally satisfied.
Right?
This is like the fifth